So I'm sure a lot of you have been curious about the new Signature AOSV5 range. Well, I'm here to give my first impressions on the Jonathan Perroni Signature deck coming up. Welcome back to Full Course Scootering, where we make videos about everything to do with scootering. Today we're doing a review on the Jonathan Perroni Signature AOSV5 deck. Okay, so we're going to start off with the specs today. So there are 7 signature decks in this new AOSV5 range. Now, excuse me, I'm going to be reading them off my phone because I can't name them all off to you off the top of my head. Starting off with the first one, we have the Flavio Pacenti deck. Second one is the Charles Padel. Third one is the Jonathan Perroni, which is the one that I have here. Fourth one is the Dedin Chirag. Fifth is John Reyes. Sixth is Raymond Warner. And seventh is Will Scott. Now, all these decks are priced at $200, and they all come with 2 different sizes. The Jonathan Perroni we're going to be talking about today. If you want to check out the different sizes in the signature decks and all the weight factors and all that, the different specs of all the other decks, you can go over to nvscooters.com and check out all the details and stuff that they have over there. The Jonathan Perroni deck, the 2 sizes that he has is the 6 wide by 23 long and the 5.5 by 22, which is what I have here. Both the 6 wide and the 5.5 have an 84-degree head tube angle, which we will get to that in a little bit on how I feel about that. The 5.5 comes in at 3.75 pounds and the 6 wide comes in at 4.4 pounds. The 5.5 has 15.5 inches of foot space from head tube to brake, and the 6 wide by 23 has 16.5 inches of foot space. Okay, so now we're going to move through, I guess, the front of the deck to the back of the deck, and I'm going to go through things that I find as like a con and a pro. So we're going to start at the head tube. Obviously it's integrated just like any other deck. One thing that I have noticed, when you go to put your headset in there, I use a tilt headset. The cup is a little bit deeper. You have to have little tiny dust cap spacers. I use 2 of them. Reason being is because if you don't use those, the dust cap will rub on your deck when you go to tighten it, and therefore your forks won't spin. So you do have to have like a little bit of a space between your dust cap and your bearings. Obviously you can tell that the head tube got a big cutout through it. Obviously that's going to cut a lot of weight, especially because these are the exact same head tubes as the AOSV4. All I did was just cut out the head tube going hollow all the way through the middle, and that cuts out a lot of weight. So the 84-degree head tube angle, I am very not used to that. I think the biggest that I've really ridden is 83. You would think that a 1 degree difference steeper would be not a huge difference, but it is. But from what I've noticed is that you can just hold manuals a lot easier and you get a little bit better pop. You just kind of, you got to get used to it. Coming down to the bottom of the head tube where it comes to the deck, head tube is pushed back from the front of the deck, which it's obviously going to give you a little bit less foot room, but it's also going to make your blunt space a little bit smaller because it's not at the front of it. One thing that Envy's been doing for a while is they've been using these plastic blunt plates. I've had a good 2-hour session on this deck, and I was playing around with some nose blunts on this, and holy crap, the plastic blunt plate is amazing. I didn't think that it would do much at all, but I've never had like a deck slide so good on nose blunts, and I run 120 millimeter wheels. Even with 120 millimeter wheels, I can still get into nose blunts on it, and it slides just super good. I don't think I stuck once trying it. I think I slipped out more than anything because I'm just not used to it being so slick. That is an awesome plus. So it doesn't matter what Envy deck that you can get a complete. It's going to come with these blunt plates, and you're going to be able to do blunt slides so buttery. I'm kind of curious to see how it actually slides on like concrete too. So that's probably one of my favorite things on this deck is the blunt plate. This deck has like the traditional grind rails on it. They're a little bit skinnier than normal. Another thing about this deck grind wise is I want to say it's because of the paint, but I didn't put any wax on this deck at all, and I just hopped right onto rails and stuff, and I just slid through it like butter. Like it was like I just loaded the deck up with a bunch of wax, and I slipped out quite a bit. So far, Envy decks are pretty nice. And we'll talk about the concave here. Envy decks, they have concave, but there's not a lot to it. Everybody has their own preferences about concave. I would like just a little bit more, but we'll ride it and see how I feel and how much I get used to it. So the deck part of it is 1 inch thick. You probably won't banana it as easy as, we'll say, like the Legouch deck, because that one was 5/8 of an inch. So it does make it a little bit stronger and less likely to banana on you. Moving down to the brake here. It's a nylon brake. I believe that the nylon is like a coating around like the metal piece. I have seen a lot of these brakes break off the deck. I don't know. We'll see if it breaks on me. I don't really use my brake that much, so. And we're gonna come down to the deck ends or deck plugs, whatever you want to call these. I didn't really know how I would feel about these, but I've done a couple of 50/50s and feebles and even like a couple 5.0s. I've actually just like slipped out doing 5.0s because I didn't expect it to just be so slick. Definitely for 5.0s, they feel freaking great. Like, it feels like you just buttered up like a ledge with a bunch of wax and you can just cruise right on through it. I'm also curious to see how these work on like concrete ledges and stuff like that. You know how sticky concrete is, and even with like a little bit of wax you can feel the friction. I'm curious to see how these actually push through on concrete for like feebles and maybe even 5.0s and stuff like that. Another cool thing about the deck plugs is they're obviously, you can take them out. It'll work good for maybe you want to do some like park riding, or if you like a bigger deck and you like doing park, it'll lighten up the back of your scooter a little bit. Or say you break one of the deck plugs on it and you need to get some new ones, you can buy new ones and put them on there. And what's cool is they are threaded on one side. So all you need is just the axle, and you don't even need a nut. You just slide it through, tighten it up, and you're good to go. Super simple. So far this deck has been pretty decent for me. It hasn't been one of the worst decks I've ridden so far. You know, we'll see how it feels over time, see how it wears, I guess you could say. That is it for the review on this. I hope it helped you determine if this deck is right for you, or if you want to check out any of the other Envy AOSV5 signature range decks. A lot of them got some pretty cool graphics, so I think they did an amazing job on these new decks. They're definitely my favorite out of all of Envy's signature decks. They're definitely a lot more mature looking. They got full deck graphics and all that, so I mean, they even got graphics on the top of them. They're upping their game. Envy is kind of having a bit of a takeover, I guess you could say. What I mean by that is they're kind of the most popular brand out there right now. Every little kid you see riding's got an Envy complete, and it seems like with their influencers, they are just getting a lot more sales and stuff like that on their aftermarket parts. That's for you to determine if that's a bad thing or not, because they are not rider owned. Let me know what signature deck is your favorite down in the comments. Also, if you want to pick up one of these decks, you can go to Beamer's Action Sports in Idaho Falls. You can give them a call at 208-569-0461, or you can give them a message on Instagram or Facebook at Beamer's Action Sports. And until the next video, have a good one.